Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is your severe weather outlook for Monday through Tuesday. We have an enhanced risk of severe weather over Arkansas and Louisiana. Let's get right into it. As we can see here, an enhanced risk, as I mentioned, over northern Louisiana and the surrounding areas into eastern Texas, as well as southern Arkansas and western Mississippi. The threat actually begins on Monday over in Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas. It makes its way through those states over into Arkansas and Louisiana, and later into Mississippi, Alabama, and even the Florida Panhandle as we head into Wednesday. We'll have more information as it gets closer to the event, especially tomorrow. We'll be able to really focus in on the threat, especially for Tuesday. So again, the greatest tornado threat, the greatest wind threat will exist on Tuesday in northern Louisiana. Let's begin first with how things will look Monday. Monday, we will have an area of marginal risk severe weather possible over northeastern Texas, eastern Oklahoma, and eastern Kansas, as well as portions of the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. As we can see here early on in the event, tornadoes will be a concern, as we can see mostly over northern Texas, as well as some border areas between Texas and Oklahoma, as well as eastern Kansas. Wind and hail are also a concern, as we can see in the bottom two images here. According to Colorado State University, there's a 3% chance of tornadoes, 12% chance of hail, 10% chance of wind. So again, not off the charts numbers, but something certainly to keep an eye on. Generally, again, over that eastern Texas, eastern Oklahoma, and perhaps even into eastern Kansas as well. So that's where the threats will be. Isolated storms will begin over the highlighted region. And as I mentioned, that's when the tornado threat will be highest. Later on, those storms will progress into central Oklahoma and Texas, where it becomes a line, or at least becomes more like a line of severe weather. And that'll decrease in severe favorability overnight. With a decrease in heating of the surface comes a decrease in strength of the storms. And those storms will progress their way into eastern Texas, as well as portions, eastern Texas. I guess I meant western Oklahoma and western Texas. And I have that wrong on the graphic as well. It makes its way into eastern Texas, as well as portions of Louisiana and Arkansas, and perhaps even Mississippi as well. Again, according to Colorado State University, 18% chance of tornadoes, 17% chance of wind, 28% chance, 17% chance of hail, 28% chance of wind. Again, that hail threat is going to be the most concerning, but wind threat definitely also a major concern. Hail will be a minor concern. It's certainly possible in those isolated supercells, but isolated supercells aren't going to be the main threat. As we can see, that threat area over Louisiana begins, again, the tornado threat is going to be highest where the cells are isolated. And so that will begin again with that remnant line, which is going to exist generally between Fort Smith and Dallas-Fort Worth. And then from there, it develops into a line. Some of them do. The ones that remain isolated will have a larger tornado risk, also a little bit of a hail risk as well. And those storms will make their way into northern Louisiana as we move on with time. More likely, though, especially behind the line of storms, or behind those isolated cells, a line of storms will begin to develop where wind becomes the main concern. Tornadoes that are embedded are also possible, with that making tornado and wind the two highest threats. Those threats will continue after sunset, although minimized as it makes its way into the Mississippi Delta region, where all the hazards will continue to persist. As we move on to Wednesday, we can see a similar thought process play out over Baton Rouge, New Orleans, as well as portions of Mississippi Pine Belt, southern Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle. Colorado State University, again, with a 38% chance of any severe hazards generally along the Mississippi-Alabama area. We'll continue to monitor all of these areas that remnant convection exists, generally between Louisiana and Mississippi, making its way towards the Gulf Coast of Alabama and Florida later in that evening, and eventually off the coast of the United States entirely. Again, for more information, you'll want to consult your local National Weather Service forecast office. That's all for now. Chris Hickson, Weather, Catholic Media.